Very good morning, dear students. We have been discussing about unit number 6 of biochemistry, lipids. And in the previous class, we have discussed simple lipids such as triglycerides and waxes. Then the next topic illustrated in the syllabus, that is phospholipids. So the next classification of lipid are known as compound lipids. So before we are going to discuss about compound lipids, let us see the fundamentals of compound lipids. Why these compound lipids are very important. And compound lipids are the esters of fatty acid and alcohol containing additional group. You know that triglycerides are the esters of fatty acid and alcohol. Okay, but these compound lipids, in addition to these two, that is fatty acid and alcohol, they contain additional groups and additional substituents. Thus they are known as heterolipids or conjugated lipids, and that has several molecular conjugates in this structure. And the compound lipids can be subdivided into various groups based on the presence of the substituents. Okay, and the major types of compound lipids are phospholipids, glycolipids, sulfolipids, lipoproteins. Okay, so phospholipids are, they are mainly consist of the lipid phosphoric acid and nitrogenous base. Okay, and glycolipids consisting of lipids and a carbohydrate. This is a molecular conjugate. And sulfolipids consisting of a lipid and a sulfate group or sulfate moiety. And lipoproteins consist of lipids and a protein. This is one of the major molecular conjugate. And this compound lipids perform variety of function in all the organism, especially in the biomembranes. Okay, and let us discuss the first categories of phospholipids. In your syllabus, they have mentioned phospholipids and glycolipids in detail. So we will discuss phospholipids in detail in this particular class. And phospholipids are otherwise known as phosphatides. Okay, and these are the most abundant membrane lipids, and these phospholipids are serve as the structural component of biomembranes, and they are never stored in larger quantities. They are mainly present in the biomembranes. And you know that the biomembranes are a double layered membranes of phospholipids. And this phospholipids contains the phosphorus in the form of phosphoric acid group. And the most important difference between the triglycerides and phospholipids, the triglycerides, they are not having any charges. Okay, but in the case of phospholipids, they are having charges, and one end of phospholipid, they are hydrophilic and they are polar. They are highly ionized charged group, that is the head, and the other end, that is non-polar end, that is the hydrophobic. They are non-polar, that is known as tail. Okay, so one head and two tails or hydrophobic moieties are present. Thus they are known as polar lipids. And lipids are always known as the amphipathic molecule. Okay, so amphipathic molecules are the molecule in which one end of the molecule has a hydrophilic polar end and the other end is known as hydrophobic non-polar end. Such kind of molecules are known as amphipathic molecules. Okay, and these phospholipids are the major example. okay, and but are these storage lipids such as the simple lipids, especially triglycerides and waxes, are not amphipathic molecules. And in phospholipids, two hydroxyl group in the glycerols are linked with the fatty acid. Okay, you know that CH2OH, CHOH and CH2OH. Okay, these are three hydroxyl group. Among the three hydroxyl group, two hydroxyl groups are satisfied or linked with the fatty acid chain, and the one OH group is linked with the phosphoric acid group. Okay, and this phosphate is linked to one of a variety of small polar head group, that is alcohols. Okay, so that is the basics about phospholipids or phosphatides. And this is the structure of phospholipids. As I said, you can see the fluid mosaic model of plasma membranes are, you are knowing that it consisting of a bilayered lipid, and these lipids are phospholipids, and most of the proteins are embedded among the lipid bilayer, and some of the proteins are integral protein, that is they act as the porins or transporters, and some of the proteins are peripheral membrane proteins, and these main biomembranes are polar, that is due to the presence of the phospholipids. So if you look the individual out of bilayer, the individual layer consisting of, that is phospholipids, and this phospholipid has a hydrophilic head and a hydrophobic tail. If you zoom very closer, and this molecule, this is the molecule. Okay, so this is the with the fatty acid hydrophobic tail, and this is the head. Okay, and that is what I told you. The glycerol is the central moiety that has the CH2OH, CHOH and CH2OH, and here in this CH2OH we have seen that, okay, the hydroxyl groups is shared with the long chain fatty acid CH2COOH, and this is saturated fatty acid. Here you can see a double bond, that is unsaturated fatty acid, again CH2COOH, and there will be the formation of a Nestor linkage, this one and this one. Okay, so two hydroxyl group of the glycerols are satisfied or linked to the fatty acid chains. So this is hydrophobic tail. And the third one, there is CH2OH, and these hydroxyl groups interacted with the phosphoric acid. The hydroxyl group, the OH, and the phosphoric acid, you know that PO5. Okay, P double bond O, OH, and one H, and this COOH, the hydroxyl group will be interacted to form a water molecule, and there you can see a linkage again. So this is the phosphate group, and this is the structure of phospholipid. So this is hydrophilic head. So the heads are hydrophilic, they are negatively charged. Why? Because you can see the presence of oxygen, free oxygen you can see. Okay, and that is why it is negatively charged. They are highly ionized, they are hydrophilic, that is loving water, and this end is a hydrophobic tail. Okay, so this is the thing, this is the structure, and this head has some additional side group also, that is arc. And if you look at this particular structure in detail, this is what I told you. Here you can see two long fatty acid chain. Okay, CH3, CH2, 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 etc. COOH, CH3, CH2, etc. n time, that is COOH, and this one COOH, and here you can see hydroxyl group, and the COOH of this fatty acid chain interacted with the hydroxyl group of this glycerol, the second part of the glycerol, and the here also, and there is the removal of water will take place, and there is a formation of ester linkage. Similarly, the hydroxyl group of this glycerol moiety will be interacted with the carboxylic acid group of the fatty acid, and there is a formation of water will take place. And here you can see the third one, CH2OH, and there you can see PO5. Okay, PO OH, okay, and this OH and that is interacted with this particular side chain, and there is a water molecule will takes place. Removal of water molecule will be takes place, okay, and this another H will be replaced by other polar chain, okay. So that is the detailed structure of these phospholipids, and you can see this is the lipid bilayer that is made up of phospholipids, and that's what I told you. The structure of phospholipids mainly comprises of a phosphate group, this one, and a fatty acid, this one, okay, and the glycerol, okay, this particular part, okay. So that is the detailed structure of phospholipids, and the phospholipids are based on their the side chain group, okay. What is this side chain group, okay, that is attached to the phospholipids? They are classified into different groups, okay. So this classification is proposed by Fox and Sperry, okay. Foltz and Sperry 1955, they have proposed this particular classification scheme, okay. As per this classification scheme, the phospholipids consisting of three types of main variety of molecule. But one is known as phosphoglycerides, second one is phosphoinositides or phosphatidyl inositols, then the third one is phosphospingosides or spingomyelins, okay. So these are the three important types of phospholipids. Then we are going to discuss one by one. First one, phosphoglyceride. So this is the normal type of phospholipids, okay. Here, as I said, this is the major phospholipid found in membranes. It is consisting of two fatty acid molecules, and the first and second, the hydroxyl group of glycerol will be interacted with the fatty acid chain. One will be saturated or other will be unsaturated, or both will be saturated or both will be unsaturated, and so on, okay. And the third one is the hydroxyl. The CH2 has a hydroxyl group here, and that will be linked with the phosphoric acid. So hence it is known as a phosphoglycerides, okay. So this is phosphate, this is glycerol, and the fatty acid chain. And the next one is the various phospholipid, the phosphoglycerides different in their head alcohol group, okay, and contain two non-polar tail, each consisting of this non-polar tail, which consisting of carbon 16 to carbon 18 fatty acid, okay. And you can see in the center the fatty acid has an asymmetric carbon atom, okay. If you look at this particular carbon atom, the fatty acid has an asymmetric carbon atom because the four valencies are satisfied by different groups or atom. This is one, the second one, and third one. The fourth one is the H, okay. So there is an asymmetric or chiral carbon atom, okay. And all phospholipids have a negatively charged, I told you, because the presence of phosphate group, the free oxygen, they are having the they are having the negatively charged electrons, okay. So that is the oxygens are far more electronegative, you know that. So this there will be the negative charge as negative charge centers at the oxygen, okay. So that is why it is negatively charged, and this R can be varied, and the common R groups are this can be serine, or this can be choline, or this can be ethanolamine, okay. So depending upon that one, the phospholipids will be varied. So these are phosphoglycerides, and these phosphoglycerides are very common. I told you this commonly present in membrane. There are various types of phosphoglycerides are present. Number one, lecithin or lysolecithin. Second one is plasmalogens. Third one is cephalin. Fourth one is phosphatidic acid. Next one is cardiolipin. Next one is phosphatidyl inositol, okay. So these are the major types of phosphoglycerides. So we will discuss the first three in detail, and these two we will discuss later, okay. So the first one, lecithin, that is otherwise known as phosphatidyl choline, okay. So what is lecithin? So it is very simple. If you look the structure of this particular glycerol, and this R has a choline residue. If R has this particular choline residue, that is known as a phosphatidylcholine. Okay, so this is widely distributed in nature, and in plants it consisting of in various oil seeds like soybeans. These phosphatidylcholines are very abundantly present. Then the microorganisms such as Saccharomyces cerevisiae commonly has lot of lecithin. Then the animals has the glandular and nervous tissues of the cell. You will be having lot of phosphatidylcholines. Okay, and these are required. What is the function? This is required for the normal transport and utilization of the lipids, especially in liver of the animals. Okay, and generally in the absence of lecithin, what will happen is there will be the accumulation of lipids will be occurring in the liver. Okay, generally it will be having 3 to 4% in our liver the value of lipids, but in the absence of lecithin this will exceed till or up to 30%, and that leads to a condition called as fatty liver. Okay, so this fatty liver due to the accumulation of this lipid will create fibrotic changes, and that will lead to a characteristic liver diseases known as cirrhosis. Okay, this is very important. So that is why this lecithin is very important. Then, as I said, then the structure of lecithin or phosphatidylcholine, the lecithin consisting of glycerol, fatty acid, then phosphoric acid. These three are present in phospholipid. Then the R group has a choline. Okay, that is known as a lecithin. Okay, glycerol, fatty acid, phosphoric acid, and the nitrogenous base. This choline is a nitrogenous base. That is a nitrogenous base called a choline. Okay, then the two form of lecithin is there, alpha and beta forms. Okay, the lecithins are alpha and beta form. Okay, so what is the structure here is very simple. CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH. Here you can see CH2OH, COOR1 first fatty acid, then here CH2COOR2 second fatty acid, then CH2COO the phosphate group, and this hydroxyl group will be replaced. Okay, one H will be replaced, and there it will be CH2, NCH3 thrice. Okay, there is a positive center charge, as you can see, and this residue will be attached instead of hydrogen. Okay, that is known as choline. Okay, that is known as a choline. That is the structure of lecithin. That is alpha lecithin, because the hydroxyl group is attached to the alpha position of the glycerol. And what will happen is on complete hydrolysis, if you hydrolyze this phosphatidylcholine with an enzyme called as lecithinase, this will cleave. Okay, and it will give you glycerol, fatty acid, phosphoric acid, and choline. Okay, and but this is complete hydrolysis. But sometimes the partial hydrolysis of this particular fatty acid, so what will happen is both the fatty acid will not remove, only one fatty acid will be removed and other fatty acid will be retained there. Okay, so on partial hydrolysis of lecithin, what will happen? There is an enzyme called as lecithinase. Okay, and it causes removal of only one fatty acid. Okay, and the hydroxyl group will be there, and it will give a substance called lysolecithin. Okay, and here you can see this is also alpha, the CH2. So here from this particular portion the fatty acid is removed. Okay, and on partial hydrolysis, so what will happen? So you will be having CH2OOCR1, so COR, that CR2, this was removed, and OH has attached. Okay, then other things are the same. Here you can see choline, phosphate group, and glycerol moiety. So this is known as lysolecithin. This is very important, because these lysolecithins are commonly present in the snake venom. Okay, whenever the snake is, if you bite, if somebody is getting the snake bite, so this will cause, okay, the snake bite has lot of lysolecithin, and what will happen? Then immediately this lysolecithin will go and rupture rupture the RBC and that will hemolyze the RBC. So that is why the blood will be immediately will clot and this will be the death will be happening. Okay, so that is the basic principle here. So that is why this is very very important. So this is the structure of lecithin and lysolecithin. Then the second one, cephalin. So this is very simple. Instead of choline, the same phospholipids, this R group as either serine or ethanolamine. Such kind of molecules are known as cephalins. Okay, so this is closely associated with the lecithin in animal tissue. They are commonly, that is also seen in the soybean oil. Okay, and these are same in structure, but what will happen? The choline residue is replaced by ethanolamine or serine. Okay, so ethanolamine or serine. So this is the structure of ethanolamine. This is the structure of serine. This is an amino acid. Okay, CH2CH, COOH, NH2 hydroxyl group here. Okay, CH2NH, CH2OH. This is ethanolamine. Okay, ethanolamine. This is ethanol, and instead of here there is an amine group. Okay, so what will happen? Instead of this choline, earlier it was choline, so this ethanolamine will be replaced. So that is known as a alpha phosphatidyl ethanolamine. Okay, phosphatidyl ethanolamine. So here ethanolamine will be there. So two types of cephalins are recognized. One is if the choline is replaced by ethanolamine, that is known as phosphatidyl ethanolamine. Similarly, if the choline is replaced by serine instead of this, so if it is serine, then phosphatidyl serine. Okay, both the phosphatidyl ethanolamine and phosphatidyl serine are the major types of cephalins. Okay, and the cephalin also can exist in the alpha and beta form depending upon the position of these two substituents fatty acid. So this is all about cephalin. Then the third one is plasmalogen or phosphoglycerol acetals. Okay, phosphoglycerol acetals. Okay, so here these plasminogens are these constitute about 10% of phospholipids of the brain and muscle. Okay, the phospholipids commonly present in our brain and muscles are plasmalogens. So these are not found in the plants. Okay, they are not commonly present in plants. Okay, so structurally they are resembling to lecithin and cephalin, but what will happen is one of the fatty acid is replaced by unsaturated ether. Okay, so in the previous case the fatty acid, here both the fatty acid will not be there. Instead of that, one ether residues will be there. So based on the nitrogenous base, okay, and what type of the nitrogenous base is present in the fourth position, if it is choline or if it is ethanolamine or if it is serine. Based on the presence of choline, ethanolamine and serine, there are three types of plasmalogens are identified. First one is phosphatidyl choline, second one is phosphatidyl ethanolamine, third one is phosphatidyl serine. Okay, what do you mean by phosphatidyl choline? If the nitrogenous base is choline in this plasmalogen, that is known as phosphatidyl choline. If the nitrogenous base is ethanolamine, then that is known as phosphatidyl ethanolamine. Then if the nitrogenous base is serine, then the phosphatidyl this is known as phosphatidyl serine. Okay, so this is very simple, phosphatidyl choline. Okay, phosphatidyl choline. So here choline residues, and here you can see this is phosphatidyl ethanolamine, and the third one is phosphatidyl serine. So what is important here? There will be an ether linkage. One of the fatty acid is replaced. There will be along with the fatty acid there will be ether linkage. That is very very important. That is the major difference between lecithin, cephalin and plasmalogen. And please note that this is phosphatidyl TIDAL, phosphatidyl. Okay, so but in the previous case it is phosphatidyl TIDYL. Okay, that is the major difference. Kindly note this. This is the major difference between cephalin, means lecithin, and plasmalogen. So these are the major types of the first category of phospholipid, that is phosphoglycerides. So other two also there, that is we will discuss later. Then the second category is phosphoinositides or phosphatidyl inositols. Okay, so here the nitrogenous base is a cyclic hexahydroxy alcohol. Okay, so here nitrogenous base is not that much present. There it will be glycerol will be present, fatty acid will be present. Instead of the nitrogenous bases, the cyclic hydroxy alcohols will be present. And these inositols are commonly present in stereoisomeric form, that is known as myo-inositol. Then the hydrolysis, upon hydrolysis, phosphoinositides yield equal 1 molecule of glycerol, 2 molecules of fatty acid, and 1 molecule of inositol, and 1, 2 or 3 molecules of phosphoric acid. Sometimes there will be multiple phosphoric acid. So, okay, so this is the structure monophosphoinositides. Here you can see CH2COOR1, CHCOOR2, CHO phosphorus, and this particular valency is the hydroxyl group is interacted with a 6-membered ring. Okay, hexahydroxy ring. Okay, so here you can see multiple. Here instead of oxygen there will be, instead of hydrogen there will be multiple phosphate, 1, 2, 3 etc. This is triphosphoinositol. Okay, there will be 3 phosphate, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, 3 phosphoinositol. Similarly 1 will be there, 2 will be there, or 3 will be there. So this is known as a phosphatidyl inositol or myo-inositol. Then the next one is phosphospingoside. This is very important. This is commonly known as pingomyelin. Okay, so these are commonly found in the nerve tissue, especially the myelin sheet of the nerve tissues. Thus, it is known as a sphingomyelin. Okay, this is commonly present in myelin sheet. Hence, it is known as a sphingomyelin. The phosphospingoside present in myelin sheet are known as a sphingomyelin. And this is mainly only present in animal, but it is not present in plants or a microorganism. And this very importantly, they don't have a glycerol moiety. Instead of choline, the presence of other nitrogenous base. Okay, instead of a choline, it will be having a nitrogenous base called sphingosine, or closely related molecule called dihydrosphingosin in place of glycerol. So glycerol is commonly absent. Instead of that, sphingosine or dihydrosphingosin is present. Okay, and these sphingomyelins are highly electrically charged molecule and contain phosphocholine as their polar head group. Okay, that consisting of a in the head group. Here you can see this is the structure of sphingosine residue. Okay, instead of choline, the nitrogenous base. Okay, that will, instead of a nitrogenous base, there you can see the choline. Instead of choline, that will be sphingosine. The structure of sphingosine: CH3, CH2, that is 12 times, CH double bond CH, there is an unsaturation here, then CHOH, CHNH2 and CH2OH. Okay, sphingosine or for spinginine. Okay, so the IUPAC name is 1,3-dihydroxy-2-aminotrans octadecaphorin. Okay, then this is sphingosine. Then dihydrosphingosin. Okay, here the double bond will not be there. CH3, CH2 14 times. Okay, the bond was broken, and here you can see CH dihydro sphingosin. There will be hydroxyl group CHNH2 CH2OH. Okay, so this will be present instead of choline. That is structure of sphingomyelin. This is very sphingomyelin is very important. Okay, because if sphingomyelins there is a particular disease. Okay, if the sphingomyelins are adequately, if the sphingomyelins are deposited in large quantity, then that will be especially in brain, the myelin sheet. Okay, if it is deposited in large quantity, that leads to a particular syndrome called sphingomyelin lipidosis or Niemann-Pick disease or Niemann-Pick syndrome. Okay, so what is this? This sphingomyelin lipidosis or Niemann-Pick syndrome it's a rare genetic disorder. This is inherited as an autosomal recessive condition. Okay, so you have already known, okay, the genetics you have studied, autosomal recessive genes. Okay, then these diseases are mainly caused by, so what will happen when the sphingomyelin is present adequately, the myelin sheet sufficient quantity, if it is there, that is okay. Then if it is enormously, if it is present, there is an enzyme called sphingomyelinase. Okay, so this sphingomyelinase will cleave the sphingomyelin molecule. Okay, and what will happen, then it will be prevent the over accumulation of this sphingomyelin in the myelin sheet of the brain. But in the absence of this enzyme will create, okay, so will create, what will happen, over accumulate. Then the process, the cleavage will not happen, the over accumulation of sphingomyelin will happen. That is known as a Niemann-Pick syndrome. And sphingomyelin specifically recognized in the phosphocholine moieties of this particular sphingosine, and that cleaves the ceramide phosphocholine bond of the sphingomyelin. Okay, so that is why it will be maintained, and if it is not there, then what will happen, then it will lead to sphingomyelin lipidosis. So that is very, very important. Then let us see the structure of sphingomyelins. Okay, so as I said, this is the sphingosine residue. Okay, this is the fatty acid. Okay, this sphingosine residue, CH3 CH2 12 times CH, CH2 CHOH, CH NH2COR. Okay, this R group can be varied. Okay, so in this CH2OH. Okay, so what will happen, so here this OH, that H, the OH will be interacted with the phosphoric acid group, and here you can see the choline. Okay, so this particular nitrogenous base cholines will be present. Okay, so the sphingomyelin has both sphingosine, phosphoric acid, and choline, fatty acid. Okay, but there is no glycerol. Okay, so on hydrolysis, the phosphophyngoside give equimolar amount of fatty acid, phosphoric acid, choline, and sphingosine. Okay, but doesn't have the glycerol. Okay, and these particular components, the atomic ratio, the nitrogen is to phosphorus is 2, but in the case of phosphoglycerides, the ratio is equal. Okay, nitrogen is to phosphorus is equal residue, but it is a N slash or P is a 2. And the phosphoinositides contain no nitrogenous base. There is no nitrogenous base generally. Okay, then this sphingomyelin has a sphingosine which carries, okay, which carries the primary alcoholic group. This particular group, okay, the primary alcoholic group has a fatty acid side chain. Okay, that is primary alcoholic group has a fatty acid side chain, and there is by an amide linkage. Okay, there is an amide linkage on the primary, and there will be the primary amino group has an amide linkage. Okay, so this is the structure of sphingomyelins. Okay, so these are the phosphosphingoside. So these are all about phospholipids. So let us conclude today's class. Today's class we have discussed what are compound lipids, okay, why they are important, what are the major types of compound lipid, okay, phospholipid, glycolipid, sulfolipids, etc. Then among that, in this particular class we have discussed phospholipids. They are known as phosphatides. Okay, then we have discussed the structure of phospholipids, mainly consisting of glycerol, fatty acids, and a phosphate group, and a side chain R group, the nitrogenous groups. And the based on the nitrogenous group, the name of the structure of these phospholipids will vary. Then the classification of phospholipids are mainly 3 types: phosphoglycerides, phosphoinositides, phosphosphingosides. Okay, and these phosphosphingosides are classified into lecithin or lysolecithin, plasminogen, cephalin, phosphatidic acid, and phosphatidyl inositols. Okay, then this is there we have discussed the details about lecithin or lysolecithin, then plasminogen, cephalin, their general features and structural features. Then we have discussed the phosphoinsatides, the general features and structures. Then the phosphospongoside or a sphingomyelin and their general features and structure. Then we have discussed what do you mean by Niemann-Pick syndrome or sphingomyelin lipidosis. Okay, so these are the major textbook, dear students. As I said, Principles of Biochemistry by Leninger is the major book. Similarly, Biochemistry by Jain, and all this textbook you can refer. Okay, then thank you very much for watching this particular class. If you are having any clarification or any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, so thank you very much.